Here's another podcast from the Pod Bros Network.
Welcome back to an all-new episode of the Jean-Claude Van Damme cast. It is Jeff and John in studio, and we are taking on episode 7 of Jean-Claude Van Damme Behind Closed Doors. The title is 1.7. Like I said, the last one with 1.6, I'm fairly disappointed in the fact that they titled half the episodes, but the other half they're like,
yeah,
lazy.
These all just really seem like special feature type things.
Yeah, right? Honestly, it really does. It seems like the first 4 episodes were really solid, and then they were just kind of, well, I guess maybe 5. The first 5 episodes were pretty solid. And then they're like, okay, we don't know how to end this. Episode 7 appeared May 3rd, 2011. 44 minutes long. While Chris and Bianca finish shooting Weapon in Romania, JCVD cameos in a comedy shooting in Paris, records his dialogue in Kung Fu Panda 2, shoots a commercial for Gillette, and finds time for his fans. Tired, he returns to his hometown. Once again, that kind of sums up, like, that does a good job of summing up the episode. That's pretty much our review.
Yep.
Chris does his stuff with Scott Adkins in Assassination Games, aka Weapon, and it's kind of funny because he shoots the blanks and he closes his eyes the whole time when shooting. I didn't recognize that when we watched the film. Maybe we did a couple different takes. So there's this part where Scott Adkins does a Frankensteiner.
Yep, hell yeah.
Chris's body double, because it's a little bit too dangerous for Chris. And rightly so, to be honest.
I'm pretty sure that's standard for any actor, really, for a scene like that.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
A botched Frankensteiner would
really
be
hurt.
A bad day.
Yeah, man. I mean, he let's see. For those that are listening that have no clue what a Frankensteiner is, just think of basically you're sitting on your opponent's shoulders, and let's just get graphic here. Your crotch is in their face. Yep. You flip over backwards and you catapult them over you. So
much like something called a Hurricane Rana, but that's totally different.
Totally different, especially if you're talking to Scott Steiner.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, there was that going on in that scene, and Bianca was there just to show her support. And to be completely honest, I think they just did the movie magic type of thing, and they were like, hey, we have this extra film that we told you about Weapon in the first one, so let's just say Chris is in Bulgaria this time around.
Yeah.
And then he's miraculously back in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And then he's back in Belgium with his dad. It's really weird. They were
some
like,
real jet setting going on there.
Man, in this episode, definitely. So, yeah, Van Damme films his cameo in, I think it was called Bureau La Seville or something like that. We talked about it. It's in one of our cameo episodes.
It was nice to see more context to it.
Yeah, right. We actually had some idea. The police were actually questioning him in a crime case. So at first we just thought, well, the police are just talking to him, and it's comedic. And the guy in it was really funny too. Very, like you said, Jerry Lewis.
Yeah,
totally.
Lots of physical comedy and wackiness.
Yep, yeah. And Van Damme does his thing there. We see that Van Damme's getting a little bit older because he can't read the cue cards from far away. He has to have the actors hold the cue cards in front of him. Thought that was pretty fun. But he was also pretty professional, man. And you can usually tell when someone reads off cue cards just from their eyes darting and whatnot. I didn't really see that, but who knows? Maybe it happened. I didn't catch it though, so good.
No, I never did either.
Good on the director and good on Van Damme. And then later on, he's filming for Gillette, and he's starting to feel like smothered. Too many people are around him filming, and he immediately is like, okay, we got to stop this. And he's like, you can tell kind of like that's his bipolar disorder.
Yeah, like a switch had been flipped,
Yeah. And so once it's basically just like him, director, and the boom operator and the cameraman. It's just like it. They put the cue card around the camera. Really cool.
Yeah, they had like a glory hole cut out of it for that.
Yeah, seriously, that's the best way to say it. So the camera could fit through it. And Van Damme read his lines right in front of the camera, but even then he's still kind of sluggish with reading his lines and stuff. And so
it was weird because he said he had more trouble reading in French than he did in English.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that was really weird to me. But, I mean, I'm interested to see. Maybe we're just not knowing something, being American.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seemed to me like he wouldn't have that much trouble reading in French.
I mean, he does act more in English than in French. So, so maybe that's why. Who knows?
Yeah, I have no clue. So that all happens. Then we see him basically, he's somehow back in Belgium, and he goes out to a nightclub with Chris. Chris totally is like just sitting there looking sad, like he's in a Zach Braff film. And
he's still like, I don't know if he speaks French or not. So even if he doesn't speak French, that's got to be really boring for him.
Yeah. So like all these beautiful women are coming up to Van Damme.
Yeah.
Pictures with him. And poor Chris is just sitting there like, okay. And he's like, hey, I had a great time with some friends, some good friends. And yeah. I was like, oh, you poor kid putting it on for the camera. You probably were just like, I want to go home. I'm tired. And I just want to sleep. And I have this girlfriend, and I'm out at the club, and so it's probably just awkward.
Yeah. And again, I'm assuming it's free drinks for him, too.
Yeah,
so.
right? Who knows? And then later, like, they act like the next day they're back in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And Van Damme and Gladys are talking to Chris and his girlfriend about the, like, troubles of getting married and being in Hollywood.
Yep.
Scaring the shit out of her. She's, like, crying.
Yeah.
Like, Chris is going to do a bunch of coke. And I'm like, do you know who your son is? Like, your son's not his dad. He's more of his mom than he is his dad. So that was a little funny, a little extreme.
Yeah, she was actually crying. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And he's like, whoa. You know?
Yeah, really weird. And all the meanwhile, too, Van Damme is also recording for Kung Fu Panda 2. Though they don't show any of that. They just show him leading up to it.
Yeah, they just show him rehearsing his lines at his house or his apartment.
Yeah, and the elevator's out, and so he has to walk down 41 flights of stairs. So that sucks for him, but like that's kind of it.
That's about it, yeah.
There's not really much else to this episode. Like episode 6, it's kind of just filler. We got just some weird, when they're waiting for the elevator, they did a really long cut of just staring at Gladys and them waiting. And it's just like, why? You know, I mean, you can get your point across about the elevator being out without having this
like cutting back and forth of them looking at the elevator, you know, cut to the elevator, cut to them looking impatient, cut to the elevator.
Yeah. So that was a little too much. It does feel like they don't know how to end this show.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing about it. Also, Van Damme finds himself back at that church once again.
Yep.
And
finds himself crying once again.
Yeah. Well, it's become a little joke between us where we're like, all right, take a shot when Van Damme cries. Not, saying anything against him, but it's
he's a passionate man.
He's a very passionate man, and they totally exploit his passionate side too, just for TV. We were also speaking.
He produced it too, didn't he?
He did.
He has a producer credit.
He has a producer credit, right? Yeah.
So who knows what exactly that entails?
Yeah, he might. I don't know if he's given the go ahead on to show all this or not. But the way that they film it, they make it. I was talking to you while we were watching it that this is one of those types where they would put all the blame on you for if you're like, you filmed it making fun of them.
Yeah.
And I laughed at it. And they're like, you shouldn't laugh at it. Well, the way that you filmed it and portrayed it, you did it on purpose.
It was definitely done with comedic intent in a lot of scenes.
Yeah, even though it's very serious, but you're almost shaking your head at how passionate this dude is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, very emotional. There's nothing, there's nothing wrong with it. But man, like, I'll be honest, I would have to like prep myself to hang out with Van Damme if that's what I had to deal with every day. I'd be like, okay, all right, I got to get my mind set because he's an emotional guy. And you're going, all right.
You're just not used to that in a person, right? Especially here.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
I don't know if it's like, more of a commonplace thing in Belgium or Europe or any other places that he travels around to on a common basis, but yeah.
Yeah, I think in the Midwest, you just kind of give them a pat on the shoulder, tell them it's okay. And then
there. Or you just say, ope.
Ope, yeah. Ope, I'm just going to sneak past you, get the tissues for you here, bud. Let me just give you one of these. You all right there? You want to pop with that? So, no, that's basically the episode. Is there anything else? Get a little bit more of a potty humor. Van Damme just pissing with the camera rolling on him.
And he turns around
and smiles.
And he like winks at the camera.
That was pretty sweet.
What a madman.
But Yeah. Episode 6 and 7 have probably been the most disappointing episodes by far.
Still entertaining.
Yeah.
But...
Oh yeah. But I had to say for the first 5 episodes, I don't think I touched my phone at all.
Yeah.
And for episodes 6 and 7, I was like looking up stuff that corresponds with this while doing it, and I don't know. Entertaining, but yeah, I can see how this was just an 8-episode series. These weren't meant to watch back to back. I think it wasn't until pretty much Netflix kind of came out that this whole idea of, hey, we should binge watch. That's where it really set in. So I don't think they ever expected 2 guys sitting in Wyandotte, Michigan to binge watch this reality television show.
They should have.
I know, losers. All right. So that wraps it up. TEE.pub/LIC/podbros. Patreon.com/podbros. We have our super secret episode over there. Or if you do your shopping on Amazon, please consider using our link. Just go to podbros.com. Click it. It's right there on the right-hand side. Thank you all for listening so much to this top 6th ranked episode in Sweden for film and television.
Hell yeah.
I am John.
And I am Jeff.
You've been listening to another episode of the Jean-Claude Van Damme cast. Jeff, I'm warning you. If you're going to live this Hollywood lifestyle, be prepared when you're married.